So I hope everyone here logged into the hardscaper.com thing today.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's supporting over here.
I saw ya.
I didn't get a chance to. I want to hop back in on that.
And
you know what?
we
Actually,
are live here.
There we go.
Boy.
What's happening, Hardscapers? This is the second Hardscaper Roundtable rally, as we're calling it. And today we're going to be talking about qualifying leads that are coming into your business. And we are joined by none other than Craig Scheller of Scheller Outdoor Living. He is at Scheller Outdoor Living on Instagram. We've got Evan of Pride Hardscape. Evan, I've never tried to pronounce your last name. Is it Newcombe?
You nailed it. Great job.
Oh, man. Awesome. At Pride_Hardscape on Instagram. We got Jeremy Swihart of at J² Outdoor on Instagram. And we got Tony Zambito of Group Zamco at Zamco Group.
Zamco Group, yep.
On Instagram. And we're going to get started here right off the bat. We want to keep these nice and short for our guys coming on and joining us here. So let's get started talking about qualifying leads that are coming into your business. Where are your leads coming from? And does that dictate what direction you're going to take to qualify those leads? So when you get a word of mouth lead, when you get a lead coming in from a Facebook ad, when you get a lead coming in from your supplier that's kind of giving you that word of mouth lead, do you guys take those pre-qualifications in different directions? Do you have different processes in place to qualify each of those types of leads? Or do you just have one process in place? And what does that look like in your business? Whoever wants to kind of roll with that and let us know what their thoughts are.
I have a habit of jumping things, so I'll let someone else take the lead on this one.
I guess maybe I'm the youngest, so I'll start. I don't know. So recently, we didn't have really a process until we kind of, like I said, we've gotten a little bigger recently, and in 2021, our last episode, but we've now are charging for consultations. And I feel like that has really kind of, I don't want to say littler jobs, but I mean, it's pretty much the people that are serious and not serious. So it's really helped us in the regards of that. And luckily my mother, AKA my secretary, is really good at kind of talking to the client, seeing what they're wanting. And she puts them, it's really whether we are 2 to 3 weeks out right now for appointments. So it's really that person. If they're willing to wait 2 to 3 weeks, I feel like they're ready to commit to a job no matter what. And they're willing to wait. And the first initial phone call, she's telling them, we're booked till end of August right now. So they know coming into it, they're not going to see me for 2 weeks. And also we're not scheduling till August. So it's helped me a lot wean out the jobs that aren't serious. And I feel like the consultation has really helped my business in only a month and a half, 2 months. Really, it's really changed the way I look at my jobs, and it's helped me get some bigger jobs actually.
So your pre-qualification process is almost like, having your customers really be willing to wait that time and be willing to wait for you specifically, Evan. Otherwise they would kind of go elsewhere, right?
Yeah. And I feel like our Instagram, our social media, as everybody knows, has helped honestly out us a lot, is that they're now looking like, well, are we wanting to get, we're getting multiple quotes, but we have to wait 2 to 3 weeks for him to even come look at us. But if you wait 2 to 3 weeks, I get an estimate out to you in 7 to 14 days. It's not going to be a full design. It's going to be an estimate, and then we can go from there. So, I know that a lot of people, the first thing they say is, hey, you need a design. Well, I start out with numbers, because there's no reason to go into design if someone can't even afford this project. There's no reason for anybody else to waste their time. So it's definitely helped us out. And I think the consultation, I feel like I'm getting paid also now for every day that I'm going out to do estimates. I'm getting paid to do it now. And I feel my knowledge is worth that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for us, it's, our pre-qualifying has literally been a lot similar. It's been based on just we're so booked, and I started at one point. Honestly, it was so overwhelming. We were getting so many leads that I started charging a fee for quotes. And I don't know how it is in your markets and all that, but like in Montreal, nobody charges a penny for quotes. Like nobody. So, it definitely pushed away anyone who's not serious. But at the same time, I've gotten a lot of really awesome jobs that I don't know if I would have gotten if I had charged for the quote at that time either, right? So it kind of made me pull away from that. Not to say it's wrong. I really wish that I could kind of stick to my guns on that one. I decided to like back off from that for now, just because I have this really like big, I guess this fear of missing out. Not on the work, because I've worked more work than we could possibly handle. It's more on the I don't want to miss out on that awesome project. You know what I mean? Like the project that I want to do, the project that's going to have all these features, it'll be really fun. So our pre-qualifying is really at this point, I tell them like, I don't do anything without a design. Now that goes two ways. Either you have your own design already, whether it's from your pool contractor or you trying to draft it up. I tell them if you want, if you're good with a paper and pencil, even draft up what you want, send it to me. With your certificate of localization, I could load it into my system and I could get the measurements to scale within 10, 15 minutes. So it's not like, it's actually faster for me to load it into my system, scale it out, measure it according to their drawing. Obviously, I'm using their drawing as a guide, but I'm using their actual certificate for the real measurements. I'm doing that quicker than it would take me to even drive to their home. So I'm able to get a preliminary. Look, if that quote works for you, then we'll go to the next step. But I will not proceed without a design. So that's kind of filtered out people that they're like, because we had so many people that would call and be like, I don't know what to do with my space. We hear that you're really good at design and all that stuff. And they were just calling for like free consultation and just some free ideas, and then getting someone cheaper to do it. So we just put our foot down on that and said, like, you're not getting any of our signature designs, I don't even discuss pavers until the contract's signed. I'll tell you what, the layout, at this point, they paid me a design, they've done all that, so they're serious. But until I have a signature on paper, you're not getting my inserts and all my bells and whistles that I put on my projects. They do not get to see that until there's actually a signed paper and I have a deposit in hand. And the clients understand, because we have the reputation of the work that we do, they know that they're not like scared, like, but what if he's not going to go that extra mile after we sign the contract? Like every one of our projects looks a certain way. Your project will be signature. Trust me on that. And if you can't trust me on that, then I'm sorry. I don't think that we're going to be a good fit for each other. And it's worked out well so far. So that's kind of our pre-qualifying.
That's great, man. Honestly, that's nice to hear that you can actually go and that's where I'm at, is I don't give samples of pavers or anything. That contract signed, because as soon as you go lay out a 5x5 area with some wall lights, and I lay out low voltage lighting, you go spot their tree up, all of a sudden they go, they take my hand sketch, and all of a sudden I see my hand sketch that's installed by another contractor, and it's a hand sketch.
Exactly. Even if it's a cheap knockoff.
Yeah.
Even if it's a cheap knockoff, it's your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where we went to charging for the consultation. But I also hear you're missing out on that job, and that's where my mom comes into play, honestly. And it's like, hey, this job sounds really good. You should probably get out there before 2 or 3 weeks. And
she's got the good filter.
Yeah, she's
right?
really.
So that's a gift. That's not something you could learn. That's either you could read people or not. You know what I mean?
She's trying to quit on me too, so I got to work on that.
Better give her a raise.
I just she doesn't want to work. She's retired.
She definitely pulls the card. I've given you my life. I don't have to give you any more.
Yeah, I already took 20 years off her life raising me. So I mean, she's done. She doesn't want to do it. So I hope my wife will maybe take that over, and we'll see. She's staring at me laughing right now. So.
I guess that's not going to happen. You should probably put an ad on Indeed or something.
Jeremy, the last time you were on the show, you mentioned that you were booked out quite a bit. So is your process very similar to Evan's and Tony's, where it's very selective in terms of?
So we I think back to your question was kind of, do you treat everyone the same as they come in, whether it's from Facebook lead or email lead or Google, whatever. I think the temptation can be to treat everybody a little bit differently. Like if your best customer refers somebody, you're kind of quick to answer that call and get right out there to do the estimate, which is probably better to treat everyone the same and put everyone through your process and ask the same questions. I've learned that the hard way, just hopping in the truck and just running out to those jobs because somebody knew somebody or whatever, and that can end up pretty bad for you. So I like to run everybody through the exact same process, and it's a kind of a disciplined thing to do that.
Yeah, sure.
As far as like charging for estimates and all that stuff, we've done it both ways. For a long time, we charged for our consultations, but we started to get like a little bit of friction right at the beginning of the job and the process. So what we've gone to now is basically we try to really thoroughly vet people when they call us the first time, like really get them talking and really understand their project to the point where you can give them some rough ballpark figures. And then we explain to them that we have to have a design in order to do their estimate. Like we can't give them a real estimate or proposal without a design. And we've given a minimum design of $500. So no matter what, if we're just drawing like a simple backyard patio for you, it's going to be $500 no matter what. And it goes up. If it's a pool project, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, something like that. So by doing that and explaining that, that's started to really work for us. So not so much charging the consultation, but just telling them, hey, you're going to be paying for the design before we even go out there. So a lot of times people will be like, well, I was just going to get a free design. You know, these other companies I've been talking to are going to give us free design. That's great. We're not going to meet with you. Just go ahead and meet with them. That's, you know, so just having a conversation ahead of time saves you a lot of time. And for us, right now, the consultation fee is out just because of the friction it was causing, but it might come back. We'll see. And we kind of, that ebbs and flows. It also depends on how busy you are. Like, if I'm booked out for like, you know, a year, I'm going to start charging $1,000 consultation because there's no real point for me to even go to the job. So, I mean, it all depends on where you're at. So you can change it whenever you want to. It's not something that you have to keep the same way all the time.
So
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, the friction, what was the friction was I just out of curiosity, because like we're booking like end of September, like we're a 6-man crew, you know, I want to be on the ground now. I like, now that I'm booked out and actually for the first time in my life have job security, I actually want to be on the ground laying pavers. The other day I laid 400 square feet of pavers and moved 13,000 pounds by myself. It was great. I loved it. So what was that, like the tension between, what was that about? Like, what was that? If you could explain it for me too, to learn.
So when people would call in, you know, there would be kind of like it's kind of hard to explain, but like basically when someone calls in, you kind of want to get like just off to like a really good start with them and build that rapport and kind of move in and just be visualizing their project, getting them excited and really kind of helping them understand like the value you can add, and having to put the brakes on and say, hey, it's going to be $100 for us to come with you. It was causing a little bit of like friction at that point. So
almost like they're expecting more out of you initially than maybe you can even give for that $100, whatever.
Right. Yeah. It was just causing a little bit of awkward tension right at the beginning of the project. So, you know, I don't know. It's something that, like I said, right now we're not doing it. We might do it later on. It's not to say that it's a bad thing. Obviously, it's working for you. But what we found is working a lot better and seems to be smoother for us and getting us the type of jobs that we want is just, you know, letting them know that there's going to be for sure a design fee for whatever they need to do.
So, Evan, how are you charging for them? Are they paying it up front when they make the appointment? Or?
I mean, honestly, since January started, we've gotten 6 estimates. And, you know, the first thing my mom, she's great on the phone. She talks to them and says, hey, what's your project about? And she doesn't bring it up till the end. Like you know, what you're saying, Jeremy, is you kind of have to put the brakes on, but okay, well, we aren't actually scheduling appointments for 2 to 3 weeks and we charge $150. And then the conversation, I could see if you're not good with someone on the phone, it could go south. Like it could be like, well, now we don't want you to come look at our job. So I guess, you know, we charge and then they give me $150 check or $150 cash when I show up. It's literally, and then the 5 out of the 6 was a cash payment to Pride Hardscape, because my mom says, please write a check out to Pride Hardscape. You know, giving me cash is not a good idea. So, you know, it's worked out, but not that at least like, I don't charge for any clients that are, you know, are repetitive clients. I don't charge them for a consultation. So that's one thing.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's
a pre-vetted client, right? That's a client that's already. I mean, they've kind of earned your trust. But no, I get what Jeremy's saying is like, I found that's why I started doing it. I started saying, you know, like there's a fee, and it was the same thing. It was $150, really like peanuts for the time that we put into it. But then again, I don't treat them like consultations, and I don't call them consultations. The second the word consultation comes in, it's a design. And the second it's a design, because for me, if I'm going to consult you on anything, I'm going to consult in the space, right? That's what we're doing. We're not consulting on, you know, basically, if we're going there to measure, that's not a consultation the way I see it. So I had a hard time. It wasn't coming out naturally to ask for that. Like I couldn't, you saw that I would have resistance, and where I'm usually very fluid on the phone with my clients, I'm comfortable, whether they're my client yet or not, I'm just speaking to them. It wasn't fluid anymore. I didn't have that like rapport with the client. Everything felt cold. I felt cold. You know, I felt like I was there almost arrogant, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you want us to come out there, then fine. Then I'm going to just let you know, we're at this point, I've opened up space now because our season is completely booked. We're signing for 2022, and we've like doubled our crew to open up spots this year. So it was at the same thing. Like I almost felt like they were seeing it like, I don't need your job. If you want me out there, it's going to cost this much. And it's not at all what I wanted, what I was trying to say. Yeah. So, but again, I wish that I could stick to that. And I wish that it came out in a way that I could get paid for my time and for that. But as far as designs are, I put my foot down a long time ago on that and said, you know what, I'm done working for free and giving out what makes Zamco for people to take advantage of. I felt like I was getting taken advantage of all the time. So all my designs, you're paying. I don't care. There's different levels, and we've created kind of like a pricing schedule for our designs, like, you know, based on the type. If you just want like, you know, allocation of space, that's like a quick thing I could put together in like an hour. If you want the second, I call it like a design, that's more like, okay, if you want features, pergolas, any kind of elements, the second you're designing with elements, at that point, it's minimum $750. And then the second you're going into 3D, it's $1,500, usually what I charge now, but we just invested now into like, we're going completely different. We've been using Vistara or Structure Studios, which is kind of cartoony. And now we're going, I actually ordered my computer today, SketchUp and Lumion. So that's obviously a lot more labor intensive. So at that point, my designs are going to go up to $2,500 minimum. So again, it's that I'm charging for designs. I'm not charging for consultations, but I wish I had the balls like Evan to like, sorry, we're live.
And honestly,
I
wish
I had the courage to just.
Well, the reason I did that was the old company I worked for, Chenard's Nursery, is a company here, well known. They're one of the other big companies around here. And I still go fishing. I worked for him for 7 years. I still go fishing with the owner. Like we're good friends. We're the same age. He graduated college. I didn't. I worked for him after he graduated college. They charge $200 a consultation. So when I heard of them kind of charging that, and I heard of another company, so there's 3 to 4 companies around me, and I only live. My town is 60,000 people. So, you know, like I live in a small community, and, you know, we're getting contracts now that are ranging from $50,000 to $250,000.
Evan, do you do your design work in-house?
So what with my consultation, okay, I'll say it a consultation, whatever you want to call it, or you get Evan time is what I call it to customers. When I show up, like, hey, you get Evan time, okay? We're gonna, you know, if you want to have a drink with me, have a drink, whatever you want to
pay for it.
So you want to come fishing anytime. Any of you guys want to come steal that drift boat, you guys come whenever. Oregon's great. But, you know, I go in there and I don't even bring up the consultation. They don't even give me a check till the end of the conversation. And when they give it to me, the check, they feel like they got that $150 that night. I might be there for an hour and a half. So for an hour and a half, we charge $80 an hour. Then I should have got paid $150 for an hour and a half if I was doing ground labor. So it's definitely, it's hard. It was hard the first couple of conversations. My mom said it was really awkward telling them that, but
Awkward.
Now, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So
that's why your mom wants to quit. You're putting her in the awkward position.
She just talked about it. She goes, look, I worked for the city for 20 years. I'm pulling permits now for you. I'm doing this. She goes, you went from a mom and pop lawn mowing business to now installing what I mean, like, honestly, like, I mean, Jeremy, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't even know that installing pavers, like what you guys are doing, I didn't even know this stuff existed a year ago. And wow. now we're doing this. Like, we were installing Mustard K and Holland Blend for 10 years. It's literally what we did. We didn't install anything. So for my business to come to this, I feel like it's worth that customer. They're going to get 2 visits out of me, most likely. And they're also going to get a hand sketch. So back to your question. I only do hand sketch. Maplewood Design does all my designs. And you know what's really weird is that designer does all my designs for my competitor. So isn't that weird?
All
right?
Your designs for your competitor, or all the designs?
No, sorry.
Because then you got to find a new designer, dude.
No, so he does for Chenard's. He does 20 to 40 designs for them, and he does like 5 to 10 for me. So it's really like, but Chenard's is a very flagstone natural look. That's what I grew up doing, was the flagstone boulder work, planting a bunch of plants, English gardens. And I want no maintenance in now I've switched. I want you to have no maintenance. I want you to trim a shrub once a year. Jeremy, you go great on your landscapes. We don't even have a license to landscape or lay sod. I got rid of those licenses because I didn't want to warranty plants. I didn't want to warranty the yard. So we only install pavers and hardscape. So there's 2 licenses where we're at. And that's where we're setting ourselves apart with those pavers. And I honestly, for Instagram, everything we're doing is because of Instagram, is seeing all your guys' photos and like looking at everything. It's great. I mean, it's inspiring to see what you guys are doing, because I haven't been doing this at all. And my foreman and me are really taking advantage of it, because everybody wants those beautiful patios. They don't want concrete that cracks.
Yeah.
I mean, in Oregon,
no swearing. You can't say concrete on this.
Concrete, yeah. But sorry, I won't bring up deck. Okay?
So we're gonna have to bleep that out. Oh yeah, no. Mike,
Sean bailed on it.
Hiding anywhere?
Yeah. So it is definitely the in-house. Am I gonna think about doing in-house design, guys? I am really not good at computers, so I don't know if I actually. My daughter's probably better than me, and she's 8 years old. So I'm gonna train her to be a designer. And I hope she can start designing for me between 12 and 14 and actually fully doing design. Honestly, like I'm not, and my son, he's going to be running the excavator. That's where we're at. Manual labor is, in my blood. And it's also, I married into manual labor too. So
do you charge for the designs that your designer's creating?
Yes, I do. So our basic designs, like I said, is $500 for 2D. And then it ranges for 3D is between $1,500 and $2,000. So our recent pool design that we got, it was a $1,500 design. And if in my estimates, if you accept the project, I pay for the estimate for the design. So if you accept the bid of $80,000, I will cover that $500 to $700 design. That's just where I'm at right now. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. Like I said, guys, this is my 2nd year in the hardscape industry. So I've been mowing lawns for 22 years. And since I've been 13 years old. So I don't know, I'm kind of just doing this all on the wing, and it's been working out very well for us. And maybe it's because I'm in a smaller town. I don't have a lot of competition. But I also don't want to get arrogant, because I want to produce very good quality work for everybody. And I want every design I do has different pavers. Like Jeremy, like you never do the same layout. There might be in a 300 square foot patio, we have 5 different pavers. And that's where I think we're setting ourselves apart, where they're not just getting the Mustard K pattern at $18 a square foot. We're charging $30 to $35 a square foot for pavers.
Yeah. So I used to do that design thing like you just said, and I would just say it's included And then I would include that in my bid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I wasn't paying for it myself, but it comes off pretty good. Right now, I use a contract designer as well. So I just charge them up front. Actually, I've set it up where they just pay her. And if they want to get another estimate, they can get the estimate off of that design. Because I don't do design work. I'm a contractor. I like the installation and the construction process. So yeah, she does the design work. I am not. That's the way I've set it up. It seems to be working really well for me. So that's what I'm doing. But
And they
so
pay,
I do charge.
and they pay her directly, so like they have their via email. So that's kind of how we are. I'm attached in the emails, but they are talking directly now with the customer. And I trust Scott. You got to have a really good relationship with your designer, because because they're also selling it to other people. And like I said, Scott designs also for my competition, so he knows what I like to do. And luckily, they like to do a lot of flagstones, so we're different. But you definitely have to have that good relationship with him, because you got to be on full communication, him or her.
Yes. So I actually go to the initial visit with her, and then I do the presentation either via Zoom or in person with her, so that I can give my estimate or budget for the project at the time that they're seeing the design, or maybe they've seen a couple of previews or whatever, but at the time we're presenting it. So that I feel like that's the way that I protect that relationship. But multiple competitors of mine use her, but we have a really good community here of contractors, so it's usually not a big deal. So
we're lucky that all the designs I make them myself. So basically, like, my design fees, the way I almost like I said, I use it as like to vet the client more than anything, and to cover my time in the case that our projects that we don't get contracted to build the project, but I love the design aspect of it. So I really do it just to cover my losses if we don't get the job. But once we get the job, I apply whatever they pay for their design as a credit towards their, not as a credit, but as a part of their deposit. Because once there's a signed contract, I need to go through the design process regardless for myself. I need to create the plans for my guys. I need to visualize it for the client. Now, I'm not going to go to the 3D aspect, because if they want 3D, they're going to pay for it. That's not refundable. But for the 2D and all that I have no problem doing. I'll do it, all day, every day. If I have signed contracts for it, gladly. I actually have to do it regardless. But yeah, that's it. But for sure, once you're commissioning it out, it's a totally different thing, because it is literally coming out of your pocket. You are spending that money, so it's a lot harder. And I think that's what always kept my designs in-house. Plus, it was that conflict of interest. Clearly, you guys have like a really good relationship with the contractors that are doing business with your designers, but there's not many designers in Montreal, honestly. And I don't know if I would trust them to not use ideas that I give them and start designing the similar stuff for other people. So I really I'm kind of like a hermit crab with my designs. Like I keep them in and I protect them.
You got to keep your design true. Like your signature piece, like our signature pieces, we love to put big boulders next to pavers and cut them in. That's one of our signature features. And if people start taking that from you, then you start losing that curve. That you're ahead of that game. And Oregon's 10 to 20 years behind all you guys. By the way, we're always 10 years behind. We're slow. Okay, we're a little bit slower pace here. We got we're hippies, and we kind of slow down a little bit. So to us to keep going and be ahead of that curve, we have to be like, we get a lot of Californians moving here, and they want, I've seen like the porcelain, Craig. Porcelain, I see you looking at your phone. You better stare up.
I'm listening.
That porcelain, I tried selling someone on porcelain the other day because of you.
That's awesome.
They were like, well, we had porcelain at our house in California. I'm like, oh, really? You should check out this YouTube video. And I literally sent them your link, and they're like, whoa, you can really do this in colder weather. They're like, well, we heard porcelain wasn't good in colder weather. And look at how many feet of, it was -60 the other day. Your truck keeps gelling up on you. So it's really inspiring to, to be able to have that extra curve and be ahead of that game. And I feel like social media for everybody getting into this is being ahead of the game. Whoa. being ahead of the
Off your
game.
phone, Evan.
Yeah, it's my wife. Like I said, this is my wife's computer, guys. I don't do technology again. But being ahead of the curve is huge. I mean, that's why you guys are all where you're at. You know, I mean, like you're great. You're back in the business, but you're doing stuff that everybody else is doing too. That's ahead of the game. And like I said, Jeremy, I mean, I keep on looking at your pages and those pools. It keeps inspiring me. Everything you're doing around those pools. Have you ever thought about installing a pool? I mean,
As a matter of fact, we are.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to start installing them now. You think, is that what you're at now?
Yeah. It's going to happen this season.
And that's why that big excavator came into play, correct?
Maybe. Yeah. No. Not a big excavator, man.
That's out of the bag.
I got all kinds of stuff to do with that.
Dude, that thing is huge. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm gonna stick with my 9K this year. I was thinking about upgrading. I'm gonna give my foreman my truck actually, and he's gonna get my truck. He's really been wanting a truck, and so, but I've been looking at bigger excavators, but man, they get expensive once you start getting in above 12,000 pounds.
You go into the rototiller. Second you go into the rototiller, dude. It's a quarter of the machine right there, man.
Yeah, it's $45,000 just for that.
Insane. It's insane.
Yeah. So, but it also is, it's all about making it efficient and like having those tools. I would have never thought about investing the money I did last year if it wasn't for social media. Seeing how everybody was going through jobs, how the process went. It was like, once you got those tools and you charge the correct rate that you're supposed to be charging, it was there. You know, that the clients are there right now. Everybody's stuck at home. No one's going anywhere for a year. I mean, we're still on lockdown in Oregon. Like we can't go, you know, we don't even have restaurants open yet.
Wow.
Well, I think that played a big part. And I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And it's as horrible as it is that COVID was the best thing for our industry. It was. No matter what you say, it was terrible for the world, and I wish it would have never happened, obviously, because I miss restaurants. but yeah, it's been amazing for our industry. But at the same time, because of COVID and because of this influx of work, we're having this conversation about pre-qualifying more so than ever. Because everybody wanted a patio. Everybody started dreaming. Everybody spent time on Pinterest and Instagram and all of this stuff. So what happened is that then they just started picking up the phone and calling everyone. I love that like this time, everyone's putting their kids to bed. I have like a whole thing going on upstairs.
Yeah, dude, that's my beautiful daughter. That's my designer right there. That's my computer. No, to COVID though, you're right though. I mean, it's pretty much it's everybody's stuck at home. Their college kids, their kids are in college are coming home. They're having online students. So now they're having their 20-year-olds back at home. And like literally we have 3 customers that built a guest house for their 21-year-olds that are building, like they're
my
building.
Parents don't love me that much.
I built my mom a yurt.
Be like, sleep in the car.
Yeah, for sure. That's my dad when I was the same way. But I mean, it's everybody's, and also I don't know what, you know, I mean, refinancing your houses right now is the best it's ever been in 40 years. So
it's that, like, it's created a much bigger, like, it made a lot of serious clients, because right off the bat people see the value in investing in their property. And they're not going on vacation, you know, they're stuck home, so they want to invest. But it did, like I said, it created 2 types of clients that have always been there. But just like the real clients came out and the serious clients, you know, surfaced, all of the time, for lack of a better word, time wasters surfaced too. So there's a lot of people that are just dreaming right now of with unrealistic budgets at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to.
They sold their vacation house and they go, wait, we had this at our vacation house. We need it now at our house.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean,
Literally.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, it's literally that. So yeah, it comes down to the fact that we're pre-qualifying more than ever. And I think that, you know, a year ago or 2 years ago, because a year ago we were just starting all of this COVID mess, but 2 years ago, I don't think we would have been as adamant on having this conversation on pre-qualifying. It's always been a factor no matter what, but it's never been as important as it is right now.
Definitely. Go ahead, Craig.
I was going to say, I actually had a conversation with I met with a vendor today that we use sometimes when we're in their area, but they're kind of a ways away. But they were like, hey, if we, you know, they're trying to run my business, which is great. That's nice. But but they were like, hey, if we give you referrals, would that help? And I was like, honestly, if you give me a referral, I'll buy from you. I mean, that would be the right thing to do. I said, but I don't want to be on a list with 3 to 5 other contractors that you're giving this customer 5 names to call. I said, I want people to decide kind of ahead of time that I'm the person they want to do their project. So I feel like that kind of opened my eyes to, because I'm getting a lot of my friends on social media and stuff they see somebody that needs a fence or a deck or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, Craig could do that. I had somebody refer me to remodel a bathroom, and I was like, hey, let's calm down a little bit, because I can do it, but I don't want to. So I'm trying to train my referral partners so that they're actually helping me qualify the projects a little bit. So I told the vendor what types of projects I'm looking for and the direction I'm taking my business, and the focus that I have. And I said, if you have a customer that fits that and you think would be a good fit for me, then I would absolutely love to talk to them. But I don't have time to be chasing a lot of different, we're booked through June, which is a blessing for me. And we're small. We're me and one other guy. So right now we're focused on building our equipment inventory and getting jobs done efficiently. But we're really not too worried about growing way out of control and then trying to hire people and say yes to everybody. I'm learning. It's really hard for me, but I'm trying to learn to say no, or that's not a good project for me, or call this person instead. They might be able to help you, because I'm really wanting to stay focused on what I can do, and that way I can accomplish my goals a little bit faster, I think. So.
And there's one thing that you're starting out and you want to meet as many people as possible and still pre-qualify people, but one thing that came up at the beginning of this conversation is building that rapport, and that can be difficult when on the phone. So when somebody calls you guys, how do you start by building that rapport right away? And quite specifically, when you answer your phone, what's the first thing that you say, or whoever is answering that phone, what's the first thing that they say? And then where does the conversation go from there, that you are, trying to build that rapport as the conversation continues?
You guys can answer this, because I don't answer the phone.
I would say if I answer the phone and somebody says so-and-so said to give you a call because you did something for them, or they know your work or whatever, then I feel like that's the rapport's almost there in a way, because I've been referred. If I get a call off of like my website, I'm not getting a lot of traction on that yet. Most of probably 90% of the calls I get are referrals, which is fantastic. But I really like what you said, Jeremy, getting off topic here, but treating everybody the same is very hard for me, because I like to run to those people, like you said, that are friends or previous customer or whatever. So that's something I'm going to take from this for sure. But when people call, it's, I just start asking them about the project, where they found me, how they, did they see a project? Did somebody tell them about me? And I just try to get a conversation going about what they're looking to do. I find that people are usually in a hurry on the phone. I get a lot of people texting me and, messaging me and emailing me. So sometimes it gets a little bit difficult, but I just really get to the budget. I try to get to that quickly and try to say, what is it you're looking to do? And then, do you have a budget? We kind of discussed this, Mike, in my podcast, but usually they say no. And I say, well, the reason I'm asking is because we can go from $5,000 to $10,000 to $250,000. And we want to see that we want to make sure we're getting a design that's right for you. And then that's usually sparked we're looking at 35 or 50, or, we have $60,000 to work with. And that helps me right away to go, okay, I feel like we can get close, or we can do part of what you want to do, and we could maybe phase it. So then I just start building it that way. Then we start talking about design and then scheduling something to get that set up. So that's kind of the way I'm rolling right now, but still working on the process. So.
Well, for sure, the referral always. The client already sold you to your client, whoever referred you already sold you to that person. So yeah, for sure, there's a rapport. They almost feel like they know you a little bit, before they even call you. But for sure, it comes down to, depends on who referred that person as well. Because we, as much as it does burn sometimes, but people tend to refer people that are like them, that are like-minded, right? So if you could kind of tell the type of person that's going to be. Like, if I have a terrible client, I'm like, I pray this person never refers me anybody. Like, keep your referrals, because they're going to just be exactly like you. Like, if I put up with it with you, you're going to be like, oh, this guy's a perfect fit. He's going to put up with you. You know what I mean? So that's it. It's definitely the referral kind of, it plays a big part in knowing the type of person that's calling you too. But I always tell people, like, if you're going to refer me, please make sure that you advise them that we are not the cheapest, but we're going to go above and beyond, or we're not the cheapest, but our work speaks for itself. Just fit that in there somewhere, because then people are like, oh yeah, this guy told me to call you, said you give me a good price. Like, no, dude, I didn't give him a good price. I'm not giving you a good price. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's but that's where it's tricky. The rapport means everything in the initial consultation, phone call, when you're talking to someone, like getting to budget too. There's so much resistance from people on divulging their budget, as if you're like, oh, okay, that's how much money you have on you right now, let me come rob you. It almost feels like that's what you're asking them. Like, you met them in an alley and you're like, how much cash you got on you? You know what I mean? That you get that resistance from them, and it's so annoying, because it's like, look, I'm trying to help you. I don't want to offer you something. I don't want to offer you a dream that's not attainable in your budget. And at the same time, if you have the budget to do something awesome, I want to be able to know that I can offer that to you. So you're just hurting yourself by being unrealistic with your budget, or lying about it.
Yeah, and I know one thing is, I will tell you this: budget never comes into play with my mother's conversation. I know that.
She's an artist.
Is she looking for a job or to transfer or anything?
She actually did. I mean, that's where I got my manual labor from my dad, and my mom's the artist. Like, she is the art of what I do. Like, she's great to us, but she doesn't even mention that budget, and she just feels the vibes over the phone. Like, and I get that too, though. So like, if I answer the phone, but I'm so busy, I'd rather be laying pavers than answering the phone. Honestly, I'm 36 years old. If I stop doing manual labor, I'm going to have to start doing push-ups and sit up with Jeremy every morning and doing all that, because honestly, I mean, like, if I start designing and being on the excavator, I'm going to not lose my winter hibernation weight. Like, I mean, that's where my mom really comes into play, is having that. But Jeremy, I remember when you said, is when you get that initial phone call, is you treat everybody equal. So I think as a big part is not bringing up those numbers, because if you can feel that vibe and feel that connection on the phone, also it's a thing how you feel. You're an artist, you're selling yourself over the phone. But she also, on our phone conversation, she brings up my social media. So she says, hey, if you want, we're not out there for 2 to 3 weeks. We can't give an estimate, but go check out our social media. We're at Instagram. We're at, go check out our Google reviews, so they can get to know you before I even show up.
That's pretty smart.
They know you. They literally, I've been watching Evan for 2 weeks giving these stupid videos. I mean, I have double chin sometimes. I have to put up my phone right to get rid of my double chin.
You gotta get that angle right.
Yeah, I got a new little thing. I can't even figure out how to use it, guys. It's like a gimbal or jambo. I don't even know. Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. It's amazing.
I started finally using mine about a month, so I started using it the other day just to record some stuff. It's pretty awesome. I didn't I used it more as a tripod, honestly, more than anything.
How many chargers? How many chargers do you guys have in your phone, in your trucks?
You know what? I have to say, this thing is impressive. I had it going for like a long time, and my battery's still full. But like as far as other stuff, like my phone, forget it. I have to change my phone just because I burned through the batteries, where I can't even charge it anymore. I'll charge my phone, my brand new phone, I'll charge it 3 times a day. It's insane. I mean, I got to get off Instagram.
So Jeremy, who answers your phones? Are you still answering phones, or how do you go about it? I want to.
Yeah, I answer the phone.
I'm very,
It comes to my cell phone still. So I'm giving that up.
Then, Jeremy, what does your process look like in terms of building that rapport on that initial phone call, or what questions are you asking them on that initial phone call to pre-qualify them?
So as far as building a rapport, I just talk to everybody like I talk to anybody, really. I mean, just, and I don't think I'm not like cracking jokes with them or something. I don't have a secret or anything. I just talk to them. Get them talking about their project. That's what I do. So a lot of times what I'll do is like, I'll have them describe what they want to do. Like say they want to do a patio in the back. Like I want to do a patio. I want to have a grill. I want to have, maybe 500-600 square feet. I want to have seat walls, get them talking. So have them describe the project to you. And then you can say, well, we do projects like that. And typically they're going to be like $50,000 to $80,000. Is that something that you're comfortable with? And like, instead of like peeling that budget out, that's a good way to kind of get them, kind of get them in that direction of, get them understand that they're comfortable with your pricing and that sort of thing. So I'll do that quite a bit. That's a good way to get people talking about money and get them, make sure you got somebody like, that's not like, oh man, I thought it was gonna be like 10,000. And then, you can end it right there instead of wasting your time out there. So budget range is like you setting the tone for that rather than relying and like trying to pull it out of them. Cause most of the time they honestly don't have any idea. I don't think
that's true.
They're worried about you robbing them in a back alley. I mean, some people are like that, but most of the time we just don't know like what the hell it costs. So if you can kind of just set those numbers out there, that's helpful.
Or contractors, they've already been, excuse my expense, but screwed over by another contractor. So they've already been taken and like, so, coming into it, they've already had a bad experience. And now you're trying to get them out of the bad experience they had. Like we just went to I'll be posting it tomorrow because we signed the contract while we're in this conversation. We got the email of the okay for the contract, but we had a client had a 5-foot tall retaining wall built. The sub base is already eroding after 6 months. The base is fully exposed. Like literally they didn't sub base 2 blocks. They didn't put geogrid in and they're putting 1,800 square feet of concrete on top. So now they're paying, I think they paid $12,000 and now they're going to pay me another odd number to tear down the wall that was just built 6 months ago. And they were supposed to have concrete poured in March. And now we can't do the wall till July. So it's sad, like people, this is happening all over the place. These retaining walls in Oregon, especially, I mean, anywhere, but we get so much rain that like we are overkilling our walls, probably way overkilling our walls. But the reason we do it is I want my son to come replace a cap in 10 years and not replace a wall. So, that's why we're building the walls we are. And that's why we are $30. We were $30 higher on a square foot per wall than this other contractor. And that's why.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing. No. And you're trying to sell these clients that maybe have had bad experiences. And now you have to get over that fear. And I think, you guys can get the numbers because you're talking to them. And I could probably do that on the phone too. If I was answering the phones, I could probably get numbers, but my mom's not comfortable with that. So, and that's where I feel like my consultation fee has now come a part of her not feeling like she has to ask for budget. So if they say no to the consultation fee, right then and there, we know that they're not a fit for us. Like they don't want, to spend $150 on a contractor, you're going to pay your electrician $150 to come fix electrical outlet, but you won't pay a hardscaper to give you a full design idea in their heads and talk to you for an hour. We're worth the money. And that's where I feel like we have to, to find those clients is you have to maybe charge, but it's really, maybe when I start answering phones when my mom quits, I'll have a different change on it. I don't know,
Yeah. I'd also kind of similar to you, Jeremy. I had in the past I've done where if people like the Google calls are the worst because people are just shopping. So I would if they found my website, I would just say, well, if you look over my website, was there a project that kind of inspired you to call me or that you think would fit well in your backyard? And they would say, yeah, is this one with the, kind of like patio, fire pit, seat wall, whatever. And I would say, well, that project would range kind of like you were saying in this range. And I got some to be like, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then there's some that thought, I thought I could get that for, $3,000 to $5,000. Well, sorry, you're not a good fit for our company, but so that is another good way to kind of get those qualifications a little bit, I think, too. if you know kind of where your website is and what it looks like. So.
And my website's horrible, Craig.
Yeah, so is mine. I'm not telling anybody to go to my website. That's
oh man, go to my Google search, please. If you guys look,
go to my Facebook or Instagram.
Go to my Google search, and I'll go back to that Google search, guys. I mean, like I have 35 5-star reviews last year, and that was all we had to do was send an email 2 weeks later after the job. Hi, Nash. 2 weeks later and say, hey, is there anything going on with the project you need, anything like that? And they literally, we don't even say give us a Google review. We say, hey, can we get a 5-star Google review? Laugh out loud. You know, like we want people to, why shouldn't you get 5 stars if everything is okay with the project? There's no reason you shouldn't. And that Google review for us has made us, I mean, I've had probably 6 or 7 referrals that said, we looked up your Google search and there was 260 pictures on your Google. We didn't even go to your website. I've brought it up on every podcast, Mike, right? I mean, everything we've talked about, I've brought it up. That Google thing to me is they don't even have to, if you have a good enough Google search engine, they do not have to go to your webpage, because you should have your Google search engine. And the next thing that pops up on my search is my Instagram, not even my webpage. It shows my hashtag. So that means they're going right to my Google search, then right to my hashtag. And that's when they get to see, all of a sudden they go, whoa, this guy's doing daily stories. Let's watch him for a little bit. Let's see what they do. Let's see the equipment they have. We got nice equipment. We got attractive men working for us. You know, we got fit men, you know, like, I mean, everybody's.
That's why I follow you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some clients, like my foreman is a very attractive redhead. And I've had a couple of my clients go, that's the most attractive redhead I've ever seen.
Oh.
It's
I better not come out there then.
I know. I'm on that stage now, and I was like, oh man. So, but that Google, like I said, I mean, that Google search engine has been huge for us, very big. And any younger contractors, but if you go ask for a review 2 weeks later, that client might not even have a Google account. They'll go set one up just to give you a review because how much they enjoyed their project.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right.
So
how are you wording that email to them?
So my luckily we have a same email my mother, aka my secretary, sends out. She goes, hey guys, just checking in. Are you enjoying your project? Have you used your fire pit yet? You know, kind of start with the conversation and then go, you know, we really enjoy our 5-star Google review. If there's, you know, we ask first, is there anything we can do? So is there a light that's adjusted or something has not, you know, we always ask, what can we do? And 95% of the time they say everything's great. They give us a Google review and a Facebook review within 10 days.
So this is a phone call?
No, email.
Oh, she emails it? Okay.
Yeah, because phone calls, I feel like her calling for it is like asking eager for it, but an email is like,
that's great. Yeah.
You're checking in with them. Hey, we're shooting you a shout out. And sometimes they go, hey, you know, Evan, you know, we don't like how this flagstone's sitting, or we want to kind of change something. Or the walkway is not. So guess what? We send a crew out the next week and we go change it. And then we wait for that review. And all of a sudden that review pops up 10 days later. Like, it's like clockwork. It's literally like clockwork. Every time we ask for a review, it's within 7 to 10 days of review if they don't want something fixed, you know, like it. But 95% of the time there's nothing to be done. And half the time they just want me to come back there to say hi. You know, they're like, oh, can you adjust this light? It's kind of shining in my eyes. We're installing some new recessed lighting from Lumion Lighting. And one of my customers said it was too bright. So we're actually, I took tint, like for a car, and I have them on my light bar in my truck, and it's handled very well. So I actually I put black tint on top of the lens, and it calmed it down enough, and it worked out great. Now Lumion Lighting we're switching the 1 watt light to a 1/2 watt light. So he is changing because we weren't going for a spotlight. We were going for like an in-light light design where we would kind of have an accent light, which we really like. And so we're now changing that light bulb, but I tinted the other ones to make them lighter. What did it? I don't know how long it's going to last. We'll find out. But when the new ones come out, if we have to replace it, I'll go back and replace it. You know, it is what it is.
So I think that's really interesting. Evan, is that one email you're sending out, or are you asking them in one email first, is there anything else we can do for you? Get a response and then re-email?
Just one email.
Just one email.
The first email is the question. The first sentence in the first paragraph says, how's your project? Is there anything we can do is there anything we can do after the 2 weeks? Because sometimes, maybe the guys didn't spread all the bark, or the seed didn't get put down enough, and maybe there's still some bare dirt that needs some straw or some, seed put down. And they're minimal things. They're your foreman. It's sending my foreman or a worker there for 1 hour and going and doing this little repair. And now they're going to have a conversation with my worker or my foreman. They're seeing them now. So now there's like this whole, I feel like my clients are very comfortable with not just talking to me, but they'll go walk out and like talk to my workers. And that really, I think that's really exciting to me, because I could be up to a job site and my conversation, all of a sudden I hear my worker talking about like, oh yeah, we have 3 kids and It's really nice to see that, and I feel like you guys, Tony, Jeremy, and Craig, you guys probably kind of have all that relationship too. Once you get into those bigger jobs, you kind of feel like you're family with them almost. You're there a lot, So, but that.
Well, I have to say, like, I feed off the energy of my client at the end of the day. Like, there's clients that there's no animosity. We have a great relationship, and like, it's a business relationship, and that's it. It's like, I'm here to build your project, and I'm nice to you, you're nice to me, but like, we don't click. And then I have some clients that are just like, you build this awesome relationship where every day you're there, they're coming out and they're talking about everything with you, and you're talking about everything with them. And I find that those projects are the funnest. And those are the projects where, I find that I get a lot more inspired. I'm more eager to do something ultra cool, and at the same time, it's because I know that I could comfortably ask that I could ask them for that, or I could suggest it to them, as a wild idea, without them being like, them understanding like, look, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it, but in a very casual way, But most of the time, when you have like a relationship, like that basketball court we built like a project with a basketball court with some lights in it. That client didn't say anything about basketball. One day I just like, he's a really cool guy, and I have great energy with him. And like, I'm going back in the spring to add more stuff to that project because he's very impulsive. So, and I'm like, I call him up and I'm like, hey dude, he's like, yeah, like, you like basketball? He's like, I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm like, okay, I want to put a basketball court in your yard. And he's like, dude, my yard's not that big. I'm like, exactly. I want to put a basketball court in it. And then he's like, okay. I'm like, but wait, I want to light up that basketball court. And he's like, yeah, I guess. And then I sent him a 3D that because before presenting it, like, I started playing around with it. And he's like, dude, that's awesome. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Are we doing it? And he's like, yeah, 100%. Like, that was the conversation. That was it. It wasn't price. He's like, 100%. Yeah, do it. So, but I had that connection with the client. I was able to do that. This was exciting. Whereas there's some clients, like I said, that, it's a great experience, but it's when it's done, if I see them, I'll say hi and they'll refer me, but it ends there. And a lot of times it's some clients, what happens is they get too chummy with your employees, and then they occupy them too long. And that's another obstacle. It's like, you almost have to be there all the time because your employee doesn't want to be rude. He's representing you. He's representing the company, whereas I can comfortably, and the client would fully understand if I'm like, here, you know what, let's continue this conversation. I just got to go check that over there. And I could go do that. My employees don't feel comfortable doing that. They'll just sit there and talk if the client doesn't stop.
We have a time. We actually have a joking time. If it's over 3 minutes, they say, my boss is going to come around the corner and kick my ass. Like my foreman's, I have 3 23-year-olds, working for me, and I told him, like, look, I don't care if you bullshit with the client for a couple minutes, but after that 2 to 3 minute, you know what 2 to 3 minutes is. And if you're not back to work and I come around the corner, then I'm going to look like the asshole boss and be like, you got to stop talking. So, they're here to make everybody look good. But really, yeah, like you said, the projects, dude, when you just got me excited, Tony, by the way, like, I mean, I got excited, and that's how, when you guys, anybody, when you start to see these projects come to life, like there might be changes. And once you have that flow with that customer, like even if that design, they're like, hey, look, this design was a really good layout, but we should really adjust this way or do this because the flow of traffic. And when you can have that relationship with the client to do an on-site change and they trust you, 70% of my clients they're signing $100,000 contracts on a hand sketch.
Yeah.
And they go, Evan, do what you do. Like that driveway, that customer signed the contract. We sent an email, and 4.5 minutes back, he signed back at $60 a square foot that we did. Like literally, like it was a 40-minute email, and it was back. Yeah, he is. Yep, hand sketch is good. Do what you need to do, get the permits, and go. And once you have that, your designs just start going out of you start just going, okay, let's do this and this, and it's gotten us a lot of work to set us apart. I say everybody, go outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the fun of this if you don't go outside your comfort zone? There's no
That's
fun.
what happened with my with that porcelain job is we got in the middle of it, and I had seen Sean and Adam, a couple other guys do the inlights, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome in porcelain. And I went to the client and I showed him some pictures, and I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I can drill this stuff. So do you want to put some lights in? And he gave me we came up with an amount and a budget for it. And the design we did with the wood planks, that was kind of came up as part of the installation where we were trying to figure out how to send the pitch in 2 directions. So that's kind of how all that came about. And we just got creative and did some things on site and just trying to, I'm still trying to, like I said before, I've been in the game a long time, but I feel like I'm proving myself all over again. So I'm just trying to push myself, get better, and to do projects, kind of the direction I want to go, and just different products and new products. That's
and
kind
Craig,
of fun to play around. So
you're on the job site too, so you're able to,
Yeah.
I'm on the job site too, but I do have to ask Tony and Jeremy, but Craig, you're on the job site. I'm only on the job site. Probably, I'm still laying a lot of pavers, but do you guys, how often are you going on the job sites? Like, are you there daily or?
I'm there every day. And then if I have my guy helping me and he has something to do, I'll do a couple of meetings or like phone calls in the truck or something. But I actually when he's working, I take more advantage of that than when he's not working, because I feel like the two of us get a lot done together. And then I'll do some detail work or something like that on the days that he's not there. And then that way, if I'm a little bit distracted, it's not a super productive day possibly, but it's a little bit, we're trying, when he's there, we're trying to be productive. So that's kind of the idea with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm on the job site every day. Now, granted, I've had I call it super crew. Like I've had one crew instead of splitting it. But
Right.
this year we're splitting to 4 crews. Just because it was a big jump.
Wait, so did you buy 4 mini skid steers and 4 mini excavators?
That's
what I found out.
basically. Yeah, it's basically it's the skid steers. The excavators, luckily it's a totally different monster all in all, because now I've always subcontracted excavation. I own the shovel, I own the trucks, I own all that. I just don't have the time or don't want to deal with the headaches of excavating my own work. So I sub all that out. The thing is that already he couldn't keep up with our demand. So now it's you couldn't supply my one crew, which is the size of 2, but now I'm asking you to supply 4. So that's going to be a totally different obstacle. It's going to be an interesting year. So I won't be able to be on. I'll be on a job site every day. I'll be on each job site every day, but there's no way that I could spend an entire day on one of those job sites. And that's what's going to be, I think, the biggest obstacle, because a big part of what I've loved about this is being there. It's a long time I haven't laid pavers, not because I don't want to, but just because there's always something to do on the job site. There's always something to take care of. There's always someone that needs me somewhere. So like I can't ever actually just stop and do one thing.
Do it.
So like a lot of the plumbing of the waterfalls, I do a lot of the waterfall fitting, and I've learned over the last 2 years to really just to start delegating it, to start training people to do the stuff that I love doing. You know, I still love doing it, like the lights. I always love doing that. The lighting, the waterfalls, the fire features, all of that. Now my guys know how to do it, and it makes it a lot easier for sure. But yeah, I do spend as much time as I can on the job site, but for sure that's gonna get lost now with growth, I guess. And it's unfortunate, but it's a good problem, I guess, at the end of the day.
Nature of the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, it's been a great conversation, and thanks for participating in it. I know we could go on for hours here, but I do think that we need to cut things off to allow you guys to spend the last little evening with your family. So thank you for joining us. Closing comments, closing remarks, where can our audience find you? Whatever you want to leave them with, starting with Craig.
Thanks again for having me on. This is always fantastic. So appreciate conversing with everybody. And you can find me at Scheller Outdoor Living on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I want to do a shout out to Laserscaper for my sweet hat. Go check Josh's cool hat company out. So at Laserscaper.
Awesome. And on over to Evan.
You can find us at pride_hardscape and Instagram, and also Google. Search us up on Google, like I said, always. And it was great talking with all you guys. You guys are inspiring, and I love watching all your guys' posts, and I won't try to copy too much, okay?
And on over to Jeremy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Michael. It's an honor to be on here. I'm J² Outdoor on Instagram, and you can find me over there. So good talking with you guys.
And wrap it up with Tony.
You can find me at Zamco Group on Instagram, Group Zamco, that's group with an E, on Facebook, Quebec, French bylaws. But we're very strong on Instagram. We try to post as often as possible. And soon we're going to have our YouTube page up and running, so stay tuned for that. But I'll definitely be on another one of these segments in the future, because we have a really great gang of guys here that always try to participate. So I'm excited to keep talking with you guys and on different topics, and kind of picking everyone's brains on things. I find that this is always very helpful.
Awesome. And thank you for listening to today's episode. Go visit these guys' pages on Instagram and everywhere. You can find them. Lots of great inspiration there. That's why we're having these guys on as much as we can. So thank them for listening in, and thank you for listening in as well. And we look forward to meeting with you next week